Hello everyone, Mr. Lipchick here. Welcome to part 2 of our discussion on foreign policy powers. We are going to discuss today how those powers are exercised within the U.S. government. Foreign policy powers. Foreign policy powers are shared by the President and the Congress. The President's foreign policy powers derive from the Constitution and his or her role as the leader of the United States. The Constitution grants the President the following powers. Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, that is, the President can send military forces anywhere in the world. And Head of State, the President appoints ambassadors, receives diplomats, recognizes governments, and negotiates treaties. In the exercise of his or her foreign policy powers, the President relies on foreign policy advisors. Secretary of State, who supervises all diplomatic activities. Sometimes the Secretary negotiates on behalf of the President. And the Secretary of Defense, who supervises the military activities of the United States Armed Forces. And the Secretary of Defense provides military advice and data to the President. There is the National Security Advisor. This person heads the National Security Council and plays a major role in foreign affairs. The Central Intelligence Agency collects and analyzes foreign intelligence data and advises the President on their activities. Presidents also employ many other foreign policy experts. Congress is granted significant foreign policy powers by the Constitution. The power to declare war. Congress has only used this 5 times in our history. The 1964 Gulf of Tonkin Resolution was a joint resolution by Congress authorizing President Johnson to send troops to Vietnam, but it fell short of a declaration of war. Congress has given the President the power to commit troops to a conflict for a period of 60 days without congressional approval. Congress usually supports the military decisions of the President. Also, the power to appropriate money. If Congress disapproves the President's foreign policy, it can refuse to provide funds to foreign militaries or our own military. The Senate has the power to approve all treaties. The Senate has refused to ratify over 130 treaties in our history. Presidents have therefore often relied on executive agreements that do not need Senate approval. Most favored nation trading status is an example. The Senate must approve diplomatic appointments by the President, but usually does not block them. The President and Congress also share foreign policy powers. There are shared powers. For instance, while Congress has the power to create foreign policy, it usually supports the President's policies. And in times of crisis, congressional support for a President's policy is usually bipartisan. The President has foreign policy advantages over the Congress. The President is the leader of the nation who deals with foreign powers. The President controls executive agencies that deal with other governments and can take decisive actions in dealing with foreign powers, and can bypass the Senate with executive agreements. The foreign policy powers of both the President and the Congress are limited by public opinion, however. The anti-war movement of the 1960s and 70s pressured the government to end the Vietnam War. That would be just one example of public pressure in regards to foreign policy powers. That concludes our discussion on foreign policy powers. Thank you for attending, and I look forward to seeing you in the live lessons. Have a great day.